Hyvää iltaa, tervetuloa Assembly TV 2012. Minä olen Matthew Walster. I have some friends here. So we've just watched the demo compo. We're going to do the demo compo studio here as traditional, tradition meaning 1 year. We've decided to invite a few friends in, and what we're going to do is talk to a few of them about what they thought about not just our demo compo here at Assembly 2012, summer 2012, we're going to talk about the demo scene in general. Now, starting from my far side, on the front row, we have Menace, we have Cryptic, we have T101, we have Frankie, hello. We have Dollar, we have Leia, we have Truck, and People. I don't know who this chap is on my far left. I may have worked with him for 10 years, I may have not, who knows.
Thank you very much, anonymous bastard.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I'm the arrogant bastard and that's my husband.
So,
I am his husband.
a few of you may remember Frankie. He's been helping me very much with the Compo Studios this year. He's done a fantastic job. Needless to say that everybody here is a demo scener, and we've been doing as much as we can to further the
Excuse me.
Hello?
What's the demo scene?
The demo scene. What is the demo scene? Now, the best person to talk to this would probably be an American who has come from far to talk about the demo scene. So, considering we don't have one here, I'm going to talk to Frankie. So, Frankie, the demo scene in 16 words or less. How would you describe it?
Beer, 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 beer. Code, graphics, music, beer, beer, design.
Amiga.
Beer, Amiga, C64, Atari. I have one left.
No, you have three.
Satori!
Music!
No, T101.
So basically, if we define the demo scene as something cool with computers that isn't pre-rendered, it is something that comes out live straight away. It has been rendered by the computer system, and unlike everything else in the demo scene, it has no limitations. So it's not just graphics, not just music, it's not just 4 kilobytes big. It is whatever you want to do.
So now you change the subject from the demo scene to demos.
To demos,
yes.
which is the important thing.
Yes.
Which is we've just seen 12 demos. Out of that,
Wait, 12?
12 demos. It was 12.
12?
Going slightly mad here.
Running for 58 minutes and 25 seconds.
In case anybody doesn't know, I'm wearing the hat of Waffle. There is a Finnish waffle, and there is a British dot waffle, there is a Japanese waffle, there's a Norwegian waffle, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is remove my hat now, because it's rude to wear a hat indoors, as I was taught by my English teacher. So basically, we have just watched 12 demos. I have been people have tried to coerce me into endorsing their platform. Honestly, my favourite demo there was by Byte Rapers and Doomsday.
Yeah. Sell out.
Well, you might say sell out, but genuinely that's the one I most enjoyed. CNCD maybe. If we go around, if anybody wants to put their hand up, because hey, we're back in secondary school. If you want to say something about the demos, we have a microphone that's going to be passed along. If we start in the far back corner, Cryptic, if you could hand it directly to your back.
I don't know where the camera is, so I'll just say this. The best demo was the Satori demo.
Yourself.
I am Gloom of XS, and I think that the best demo by far was the Satori demo.
Now, Satori made a really interesting demo. I was very impressed by it, but for some reason I found myself in the middle of that demo thinking about other
Where
things.
is the dubstep?
Sorry? The dubstep?
Yeah, that was your thought, like, where is the dubstep? Bring it on?
Maybe.
Yeah, because my thought was, oh, thank God, this isn't dubstep.
Yeah.
I think his thought was, where's the toilet?
No, that was the demo before, actually.
Possibly.
I
I just want to go on record real quick. Garguy,
We're going to come
this is strange. Gloom and I agree on something.
This is actually, I have to leave now because this has never happened before.
And this
It's
shall
like
be
a-
written to a demo site that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
When they dig up the
talking
when they dig
about-
up the books in like 1,000 years, like in ancient inscribed like metal plates, they'll find, oh, Truck and Gloom McGee on something. That's the end of the
Shut the
world.
show down now.
For 1 second, no, I'm going to come back at him. So the demos you have created before have always been very hard-hitting. They've smacked you in the face and said, I am here. Especially the one that started shoot them in the head or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was called. It has been very in your face and present. None of these demos hit that.
I will agree to that, yeah.
Yeah. Now, these demos have been more mood demos. They've tried to set a mood and carry it through the demo.
And failed, yes.
No, I disagree. Now, some of them, well, none of them carried the mood all the way through the demo and were successful. However, in particular, the Bike Rapers and Satori demos managed to move it around in such a way that they conveyed an emotion to me that continued.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yes and no. Of course, that's arty bullshit, so I'll have to agree. But I think that maybe table effects are sort of done now.
Yeah.
20 years ago, they were also acceptable. I think that's maybe
They have
over.
come to light over the last year or two.
Yeah, if you're doing an Amiga demo, that's perfectly fine. But we are on PC mostly now, with the one exception.
Watch out for your next sentence if you diss Amiga once.
Okay,
I'm not going to diss Amiga at all. Actually, one of the Elude demo was one of my favorites, so
Good,
I'm not gonna...
keep it that way.
Gloom, for 1 second, I'm going to hold you there and ask somebody else.
Yeah.
There was an Amiga demo there. Amiga Aga. Yeah. Who wants to say something about the Amiga Aga demo?
You need to go to Setok.
I'm going to go to Setok on our far left. Setok, an Amiga demo, it comes into a combined demo competition. It has a lot of competition facing it. The number one thing that comes to me is the fact it was too slow.
Very interesting point, Matthew. I don't know why the mic was passed to me, because obviously I'm an Atari senior, so all Amiga demos suck. But by definition,
My point, exactly.
That's fair. I think you're absolutely correct. When it started, I was positively sort of interested. It was doing something not old school, which is always nice to see from an old school platform. I don't think old school platforms should be doing old school demos. That's rubbish. So it's nice, but it didn't quite carry through all the way. So I found my mind drifting. And
I completely agree. When the central character was there and it was moving slowly around, that should have been half the size. That should have been half the time. It just lingered too long on one effect. And TBL is perfect about splitting up in the middle of something and doing noise effects or something to make sure you are always on edge.
Absolutely.
This demo didn't reach that.
I'll continue by saying, maybe controversially or not, I don't know. I think the CNCD demo suffered the same fate.
Correct.
It was sticking on something for way too long. I loved the music, I loved the track, I loved some of the vibe there. It was just too long.
So
for me.
just moving on, just before I say that, the cube that came to the front, I was expecting that to do something, and when it stayed there for 5, 10, 15 seconds, honestly, I got bored.
I love the
I'm sorry, which demo are you speaking of?
The CNCD demo, sorry.
All right.
No,
So the
it should have
CNC
stopped
demo.
after the fiddle.
Sorry?
You have the violin part, and with the wavy stuff, go back to the cube, and
If you take out the
Beyond epic.
pauses and you made that a 1.5 minute demo, that would have been a fantastic demo for assembly, but it lingered on too many things,
I would
in
have
my
cut it-
opinion.
I would have cut it at 45 seconds, right after the violin.
That's
I
it.
would have just
And-
boom, end. That's
and
it.
make people want more, and you're never gonna get it.
Well, I actually liked some of the cut effects and
like
things like that, but they just went on for so long.
Well, that's it. You can.
One at a time,
I have the
guys,
walking
please.
robot, and it goes like, well, okay, and it wobbles about with lots of wop, but too long.
Yeah, but it's still a nice effect, but this should be in there.
There was one problem with the violinist, which is kind of weird, because you see this happening in films all the time, where they obviously don't know how to play a violin. So one of the things with the violin is that your hands should be steady the whole time, and not waving around. Whereas this one was waving around, and it's computer generated, so there's no reason for it to be talentless.
Yes, yeah.
Now, hang on for a second. 'Cause, I quite like giving mini heart attacks to people. So Cryptic, your 64K from revision from this year was fantastic. There was never any too lingering on something. How do you choose direction for a demo? How do you make sure that the coder doesn't monopolize everything and make sure that their effects has 1.5 minutes on scene? How do you make sure that direction is something that is important?
Well, actually, I think our two scenes did linger too long.
I disagree. Believe it or not, I disagree.
That's okay. Yeah, that's what we're going for final, but yeah, sure. I have no idea.
It's no worries. I mean, genuinely, from revision, my favourite was the approximate demo. From here, Bite Rapers and Bite Rapers. I'm going to forget the second group. Bite Rapers and Doomsday.
Yeah.
Genuinely, and it's not because they've plied me with certain substances. They made the best demo in my hands.
innocent.
But I mean, if we look at the demos, there has been a definite progression in terms of effects, and I'm not sure how to link those together. I mean, Setup, you were going to say something.
I want to bring in the Americans that we have over here, because as far as I know, is this your first demo party, or at least definitely first assembly? I don't know if it's your first European party or not. So I want to get some of your thoughts, if you don't mind.
Oh, taking over.
You can go to the bathroom if you want to.
Yeah, so this definitely is our first European demo party. It's our third time entering a compo into a party. We've done 2 American parties, Pixel Jam, both years. And I mean, I don't know what you wanted to particularly touch on, but it's really remarkable how different the scenes are. You know, I mean, in America.
Hold on, I'm going to stop you right there. No, there is absolutely no separatism. The North American demo scene does not exist. There is only one demo
I will not stand for that.
There is
I want his opinion first, and then I'll allow you to counter it. Please continue. Sorry.
So there is absolutely a scene in North America.
Absolutely. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Shut on, please, sir.
And I think it's possibly a little bit of a sad scene right now, and it's definitely in need of a huge amount of growth. But you know, there's been a lot of interest in it. It's something that a lot of people are experiencing almost for the first time again. And so, you know, we produce something like this, or we show, one of our big things is we put on a night where we show a whole bunch of what we think are the best demos from all the parties throughout history on all the platforms. And we run it on native hardware. And people look at this and they go, where did this come from?
Absolutely.
You know, what is this?
Now,
and how do we get involved?
Having said that, in San Francisco 2008, I was in the Metron Theatre at a big open source conference, and for about an hour, I think it was either half an hour, I showed some of the best demos that were out there, and every American out there did exactly the same as the Europeans, which is, wow, this is amazing. It didn't then appear on the West Coast. On the East Coast, you get At Party and I can't remember what the other one's called, but there was At Party in
Boston.
Utah, and whatever.
Block Party was in
Block
Cleveland.
Party. Yeah. And it never kind of materialised. However, there was definitely the interest, and whether there was something else to come. Now, I did just say I would go to Truck first. However, I'm going to lie and say Frankie first.
because
Frankie,
well,
then Truck.
I'm having been to Ad Party this year myself in 10 hours of horrendous Iberia flights. I have to say, well, yes, the American demo scene exists. You have things over there which you have to do different. It's different organizing, it's different things to do with well, the government even, that will not allow you to sell any drinks which you're not allowed to sell here as well.
Bad example, man.
Yeah, I'm on it. So no, but I have seen a lot of Breakpoint t-shirts there as well. So you guys do come over. Well, welcome to the old continent, and do come back.
Now I'm just going to. He's not expecting this gloom. Behind you. There were 3 sceners.
The gentleman sitting next to him's name is
I'm not laughing about that at all. I'm actually just going to say hi to Luguber in Norway. Thank you for the message. I'm not going to say anything about the Jews. Because we don't do that.
The one thing, if I interrupt you for a sec, you, Gargai, and Steeler, I believe, went over to the US
In
for an outreach
2008,
tour.
actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was just before I went and did my pilgrimage as well.
Well, we did it in 2007, but if you want to count years.
Oh,
then-
all right, fair enough. But the whole point was, you went over and presented to people like NVIDIA and ILM and people like that.
LucasArts.
And you tried to profess the message of the demo scene.
Exactly.
And they were really impressed,
And
but
then
nothing
they
seems to have pushed out.
Except of the first huge American demo party.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, NVC
So
was,
apart from that, then nothing happened. Yeah.
NVC
And
was a fantastic
sponsorships
thing.
for
Nobody
like
took on the-
making 50 demo kits with free computers for European seniors. But again, apart from that, then nothing came from it. Yeah.
a lot came
little
out of
things,
it,
you know.
But today, in 2012,
Yeah.
there were a lot of people interested in it. There were ACT
Exactly.
Party, there are various other parties that are going on.
Yeah.
But people don't seem as motivated as are in, I'm not going to say my country because we are certainly unmotivated, but Finland and Germany, wow, what a scene.
Yeah.
And then you look at the UK, you look at the USA, you look at other countries, and it's always 50 people on their own.
That's
Why can't-
well, yeah. That's
You cleverly left out
Well,
Norway.
Gloom first, and then I'm going to come to.
Two first, and then
Norway doesn't have a scene. Yeah. But
There's no Norwegian in
not at all. We don't have any base or anything. But the US is sort of like a special case, as you mentioned, sort of the outreach thing that we did. Like, and we talked to a lot of people, and we sort of tried to figure out why, what happens to the US scene. Why is it always stumbling? Like, why doesn't it get enough traction? Why doesn't it get momentum? Why doesn't it get big? And the sort of number one reigning theory was that the good people are always sort of recruited almost right out of high school or college into some sort of profession. And while there is no substantial evidence, I don't have any statistics on this, that seems to be like the number one theory.
I would completely agree. I just want to hear from your American colleague, if you won't mind passing your...
Yeah,
passing your
we have
microphone.
one.
Oh, you got one, sorry.
Cable
Yes, carry on.
is too short.
Well, so actually, that's a great little lead-in because the three of us are members of CMU CC, and that's Carnegie Mellon Computer Club.
Correct.
We're actually all of us graduated or are currently in university there, and so yeah, we're showing this to university people, and we're seeing more and more graphics in university. I think
Now, wouldn't it be fair to say that Carnegie Mellon is a particular university that is very specialised because you had I can't remember the physics professor, but it was Randy something who was who was very into the whole physics arts type of thing. He worked for Disney and all these people trying to get the artistic message across as well as the physics and science message. Is it not something that is more an academic interest in the US and especially in the UK as well, as opposed to Finland and Germany where it happens to be a culture? Is it not something that only university students get exposed to?
so. I think where we're seeing a lot of things happen is in digital art. You know, as a degree and as an interest. If you look at projects like processing, like Cinder, we're seeing a lot of open source, very available, free tools for creating content easily. And I think, just kind of my general cultural impression is that in Europe, it's okay if the barrier for entry is a bit higher. I think the expectation in the United States is that leading into something, you should be able to take your first few steps extremely easily.
Yeah.
And so I think these
I
new
don't
tools,
think that's exclusive to the United States either. I think that lots of countries,
if I may,
especially in Southern Europe, feel the
I
same.
have a follow-up on this.
Go on, Frankie.
What I've noticed is that if something comes out of the US demo scene, it's mostly on old school platforms, not the newer demos. Not judging you, but that's the overall view. Is that it's why?
Now I'm going to cut into you for 1 second. I would really like Truck's opinion because Truck, you, by your own admission, haven't lived in the States for nearly 10 years. You have been very much grown up in the States and lived in Europe, and especially Northern Europe. I mean, you're in London or whatever, but how do you see the contrast between the two scenes?
Again, there are not two scenes. There is a global demo scene. We are all members of it. There is a UK portion. You're part of that, but you're still part of a global movement, a global culture that is the demo scene. And the whole separatism, oh, we're this group over here and we're special. No, that's complete crap.
And that is exactly what I wanted to do because then I was going to introduce Japan. We are planning on going to Japan at some point. Japan.
You should come.
Yeah.
Japan is a very different environment.
If I may, gentleman over here with the demo space teachers has kind of prepared an answer.
Well, yeah.
Each
So
one, okay.
I'm just going to squeeze one tight thing in there.
Sure.
It costs us a lot to fly over the ocean. You know, I mean,
Exactly.
there's
Oh,
every
absolutely.
chance that we're not going to be able to make it over next year, simply
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we can't actually afford to fly over.
And you
Each
can
year.
pick your events.
And so I think while there is one large demo scene, and absolutely, you know, we'd love to see exchanges of people coming back and forth, you really kind of have to treat each area culturally and physically as separate.
I
You know,
will disagree.
philosophically, I think that it is all one big demo scene, but just there's a lot of limitations preventing it from being completely homogenous.
I have one question actually, because would there be any difference in the lifestyles between the Europeans and the Americans? Because the American dream obviously is to, if you're good at something, never do it for free. Whereas in the demo scene,
Before you go down that path,
okay.
everybody says that to me. Everybody. Finland is a really capitalist country. UK, really capitalist country. I would say they are roughly comparable in terms of their capitalistic ideals. Yet Finland has a scene of many thousands. UK has a scene of many tens. I think that's fair to say.
But Matthew, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go
Isn't
for it.
there like 9 demos we haven't discussed yet? Not to
Yes.
get on like politics,
Why are we
but
discussing one particular one?
You're new to this, aren't you?
I've been here before. At some point, there's going to be like
We'll
a
go
hand
over here
wrestling
first,
competition.
and then we'll discuss the other demos, because it is very important that we discuss the demos.
But still, I think
Okay, so I think I might have a few comments on the state of the US scene and why so many old school demos come out of the US. I would say, first of all, okay, pretty much everyone in the US has a computer at this point, but most of them would have no idea how to program one, or they've studied it in college and they program databases or something. So the kind of people who want to play with old school, the people who want to play old video games, the kind of person who will spend 2 hours with an oscilloscope fixing their C64 floppy drive, those are the kind of people who are going to feel inspired to write demos. I mean, that's definitely been the case for us, why we've done 3 old school demos so far.
So I would perfectly agree. Before we go to Setok, what I'd just like to say is there are, 300 million people in the US? In Finland, Germany, Finland I believe is 5 million.
6 million.
6 million. Germany
About.
is 60 million. The UK is 60 million again.
Norway,
so it's half as.
Belgium has
4.5.
5.
10 million in Belgium.
Either way, the EU is a lot smaller. Well, Norway's not part of the EU, but
We have oil. We don't need to be part of
the EU is a lot smaller scene. Sorry, it's a not smaller population. However, they grew up in very different circumstances to the US. The UK is one that kind of bridges the two, but that's why the UK has a small scene. Setok, I'm going to come to you first. However, the question I'm going to pose to you is, what makes such a large populace, such as the US, different from the EU in terms of the demo scene?
That's a good question because I was going to come to exactly that. So we have a connection, I think.
Really? I think of some
anyway.
dirty Irish songs here, actually.
No, I think we're missing a really, really big point. And we're talking about this capitalist ideals and things like that. But come on, the US has a huge hacker scene. And we're talking about like some hardware hacking, building sort of machines, and I mean, you guys were fixing up your like Apple Lisa, which is something that actually most of the demo seniors around here don't know how to do. So you do have that hacker scene there, and you know, we've had special guests coming from that background. So I think we're forgetting that they have that.
You're completely accurate. And in 2006, I interviewed Leo Laporte who used to host the Screensavers on Tech TV in the US. And he was completely aware of Linux, of the demo scene, of all this stuff. He just basically said that this doesn't sell programs. And the problem is that in order to get ratings, you need to discuss that things that people already know. And so there has to be a small impetus first. And the demo scene, people haven't really heard of it. Now, through Slashdot articles in the old days, Reddit, whatever you want these days, it is very hard to get people interested in cool things. Now, every time we have a demo party, be it Revision or Assembly or The Gathering or whatever, there's always something that appears on Dig or Reddit or something like that, but it never goes any further. As a whole, who thinks they know of some way of getting this message out to outside of Germany, Finland, Norway, UK? I'm going to this guy first, basically because his hand was up first.
Other than just picking on the guys, which is a little unfair.
Yeah.
You think?
I was going to them next anyway.
Well, I understand, but we kind of have dumped on them. But here's the thing: in the U.S., it's kind of looked at. Oh yes, hacker, blah blah blah. The whole social aspect of the scene, which is 95 to 98% of the demo scene, the friendship, the friendly competition, the helping people out, the I don't know how to do this. Oh, well, here, let me suggest something to you so you can move on. For example, T101 recently told me about a friend of ours in Hungary who helped him step by step through the ideas of arranging, processing, and mastering for his tracks. This is the type of thing that happens in the demo scene everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's the reason why the Mexican demo group, Dalabu Alama, was able to send their demos over to Australia to Coven 98 and win with their demo Luchador.
Now, I would dispute slightly.
Wait.
One second, please.
Okay.
Before you carry on, the step-by-step iteration model doesn't play with me because before Assembly 2003, I hadn't heard of a Russian demo scene, and A&D fucking kicked ass. The Apple Lisa demo that we saw in the Wild demo kicked ass.
Yes.
People don't come in step by step by step. We've always been saying make something, improve on it,
Where
improve on it.
did I say step by step by step?
No,
You
I
said
think
step by
I
step
think
by
the
step
point
by
was
step.
that
No,
I had
social.
foundations.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Yes. So
Because I had foundations, but I wanted to move on, and instead of just randomly Googling stuff, I had this connection, and I had to say greetings to Garguy of Conspiracy for helping me out here. And I asked that, how can I move on from this, because I knew he knew how to do it. So I sent him a mail, and he emails me back like 2 pages worth of stuff. First you do this, and take care of this, and blah, blah, blah. And it's amazing, and I'm still digesting all that information that he gave for me for free. He wanted nothing in return, and that's one of the spirits of the demo scene.
And Garguy was very important to me as well in the old days. He when I was at Breakpoint 2004, he helped me just produce something.
Yes.
Because I wanted to contribute. He and a Greek guy that I'd met at the party, and I produced a demo that was 30 seconds long. It was in no way good. I mean, it was utter shite, basically. And the fact was, we were just trying to enter something, and he coded, I did some graphics, the Greek guy did some work with the music and whatever, and we produced something that came 5th from bottom. We beat actual demos. And the work that came from Garguy was exactly what I like about the demo scene. It's not, I want to beat you in the demo competition. There is no chance, I really want to get better than you. But if I'm struggling and I want help from somebody will give me a few pointers, even if we are absolute enemies. And that is something that I absolutely cherish in the demo scene. It really is.
I'm going to stop you right here, because we still have about 9 demos to discuss with here.
Yes. Now, we'll hear from you finally, and then we'll go on to the demos.
I will segue into it. My point was the way that I believe that we will actually see the demo scene grow in areas that don't have a large culture of it is social.
Yes.
Just reach out to folks, and folks, talk to folks. That's what we did with SceneSet, and I would suggest that perhaps we look at maybe one of the demos that was in there that I believe was done by a first timer.
Yes.
We T101I were talking about it, and
entry number
4.
5, 6.
It was
something earlier.
It was something like that.
But I was saying to Trot that
Go ahead.
I truly hope that this is by a first timer, because if it's by a first timer, it looks awesome, and we should encourage him or her to keep on working and evolving and doing stuff and contributing.
Exactly.
But instead, if it was done by MFX, then I'm just gonna say, nigga, please.
So what I will say then is let's go through demos. We don't have a list in front of us. There's no way we can get through every demo because we won't remember it. But looking through the demos, we've obviously talked about Satori, and Satori did an excellent job. CNCD with Smash and all that, all as one demo group, they did a good job, but I found it too stilted. And then you get Bike Rapers, who I believe the demo was like 90% created today, in the last 24 hours, 48 hours.
Well, if you're gonna do a demo with Micron, that's the way it's apparently gonna be.
Exactly. I mean, the code only got here like 2 days ago or something. The music was like
and
3
I
days
told
old.
Micron that you might actually start figuring out how to not ruin your party and not ruin the coder's party by actually producing something on time.
Yeah.
And actually meeting people instead of just sitting for 72 hours in front of the computer and shouting at all your guests to get the fuck out of here, because we're doing a demo.
Doing party code, I mean, I said in a previous thing, you probably wouldn't have seen it, but in the short film thing, I said, not many times do people code stuff at parties when it comes to assembly and revision. And if somebody does code something, if somebody starts something at a compo, it's very rare. And people do code things at demos, and at Proximo are always bloody after the deadline, but anyway. The idea is that if somebody codes it last minute, it always is something that is a token effort. And to be honest, that Bike Rapers demo was amazing. But that's my opinion. We'll move on. So Satori, Bike Rapers, CNCD, who else do we have?
Entry number 3, sorry. Because I'm the music guy, I'm gonna talk about the music. I was listening to the track, the visuals on the entry number 3. Which one was it? Anyone has the name? I forgot.
We don't have the list in front of us. If somebody out in Live Crew has it, has
entry number 3 was the visuals were okay. They were nice. They were not great. They were not spectacular. But the music, it was like, well, just looking at me, you see what kind of music I like. It was the heavy metal of electronic music, and I said to this guy and a couple of other guys that as soon as the MP3 is out, I'm just gonna download it. It's gonna be one of my favorite tracks, and music plays such a big portion in these demos as well. And while I'm on the subject of music,
oh really?
Yeah, I have to come back to the Bike Rapers Doomsday demo that you so much admired, because it was obviously the music was by Bike Product, and I've been listening to a bunch of Bike Product songs, and I sometimes get complaints about using the same samples, which are not samples but a synthesizer. But Bike Product's songs are also very recognizable. It's pretty much the same BPM, same kind of beat all around there. So I'm gonna say hello to Byproduct, and you and I could work something out so we can both evolve.
Okay.
But the Satori demo, and this is, I'm gonna stop it here, but
yeah, so we talked about the same 3 demos.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Satori, I've obviously missed a couple of Satori demos in the past, maybe, but this was actually the first Satori demo that I saw that had a kind of coherent bass line and an actual beat, because I've seen the Satori stuff before, probably 64K last year, maybe. But anyway, I've seen, and it's been kind of glitchy, distorted stuff. But this one actually had a beat I can follow, and it made my
Probably why I
foot
didn't
stomp.
like it so much this year.
It made my foot stump, and that's always a good sign.
So before we go on to anything else, because I really want to not talk about Satori, Bike Rapers, or CNCD anymore. Waffle at the back, just suddenly calling on you. You are somebody who has.
What waffle is that?
The waffle.
Luftwaffe.
Finnish waffle. Swan me a waffle.
Okay.
You are somebody who I remember back at the first alt party I came to. You were under 18. You were starting a demo group called Youth Uprising, I believe.
It wasn't started by me, it was
But
Ferris.
But you were one of the members that were trying to popularise it. Very many of the people who are in the demo scene now are old farts. They are people over 30, 35, 40.
You want hurt.
I want hurt. Okay, I'll look straight into the camera and say, DDT, you are old. Waffle.
Yes.
What made you come into the scene? Why did you join the scene?
because I have done some code work before, and I thought that the visuals are quite nice, and then I noticed that they are actually nice people as well, and I have to say that the social aspect is, at least nowadays, much more than the graphics or code point of view. So mainly the hills nearby the assembly and so on nowadays.
It is one of the things I wanted to pick up on. Last 10, 15 years, demos have been code, graphics, music, and in the last 5 years or so, and I know you're going to disagree with me, direction has come into it big time. I think the first time it started at being a foreground thing was 5 or 2 in Debris. Is that fair to say? Is that fair to say?
I'm going to just basically say Melon Design and just leave it right there.
Mr.
notable
UK
exceptions.
Waffle, if you're talking about PC demos, then you're still wrong.
Yeah.
But no, Direction has been around. It hasn't popped up everywhere at the same time, which is of course in your UK time zone, which is completely wrong.
Oh, burn! Oh, let's not even go into their weird electronic sockets.
I'm going to say on the record right now, the British socket is the best of any. The European socket sucks. Okay, well,
It's because you can put
You
a
can kill
small
babies with it. Come on.
bollocks. Right, we're just going to set up right now. First of all, about direction. And then,
Yes, on the topic of direction, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by the direction, because if we look at the real, classic demos that everybody remembers from all the various scenes, the Amiga scene, Atari scene,
what I'm
PC
trying to say is
scene.
the direction before came from the coder, whereas now it seems to be a separate director role.
I have no idea where you're coming from.
Okay, I think you do have a
This is
point.
why I'm
It
wrong.
it has happened before, but you're right that it's more like widespread nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's just basically because technology has advanced to the point where, you basically, the director can sit around and have a ready engine that they can play around with and generate a demo. So you are right to an extent, but of course the design and the kind of feel of the demo has always been important, even in the 80s.
So looking through, we're in 2012 now. I still can't believe we made it past 2000. The world didn't destroy itself somehow. But since 2000, we've had a real genesis moment in terms of the whole demo scene. We went through up until about 96, 97, where more than 50% of the demos out there were on some kind of Commodore platform. Is that fair to say, Truck?
I'd say all the important ones. No.
On which platform?
It's Commodore, you might not have heard it before. C64, Amiga, yeah. Far more important one of these Atari platforms, certainly. Yeah.
Or, and
96
remember we did hit the
Crucian, that's
Amstrad this
Crucian.
year,
Yeah.
which won that. So
No, it's
platform
not
really doesn't matter anymore. And I think we honestly can say that. We're more into the productions.
What I'm aiming for is a
ask
platform
something?
debate,
No.
so-
Well, could I just ask something? Because I think I would really like to know what other folks felt of the Division demo, because this is, as far as I'm concerned, they've continued to evolve, and this is the best demo that they've done yet. The demo last year, there were several people that said that it was a step backward. And on top of that, the Pyrotech guys told me at another location earlier that they felt that this was the best demo that they've put together so far. And I also understand that their demo took 3 weeks to put together. And I think it's pretty good for a 3-week production. So I'd like to hear what other people have to say about those two in particular.
I'll give my opinion first.
All right.
Pyrotech was clean, but not clean enough.
All right.
I think it made a very nice demo, but it was missing something I can't put my finger on.
Originality?
I don't know, there were original aspects of it. It was just a evolutionary thing that imported from other things. Division made a nice demo with nice graphics, with fairly nice music. The effects were there. It didn't take my breath away.
Okay.
Both of them are a hair away from making one hell of a superb demo, and they just haven't clicked their fingers yet.
Maybe just need better musics.
Possibly they need more integration also, something that kind of really jumps into it. Before we go to there, I'm going to the back. But basically, both demo groups, I think, are a hair away from producing one of the best demos I've ever seen. But today, they were very much third places to me.
I'd like to point out the Rustbloom demo, because I've seen...
I have Rush Bloom in mind. I'm going to come back to you if you don't mind, because Rush Bloom were very much favourite of mine. At the back, yeah, hi. Oh, the microphone's going round.
Okay, Matthew, I'd like you to talk about recruitment. Are we recruiting people?
No.
We're not.
We are not.
We're not.
The reason why this is, when you say recruitment, there's two things that people can hear, and half of the people will hear recruitment as in, are we hiring? Are we getting people for jobs?
I am actually hiring, but that's a different story.
Yeah, well, that's a different matter, and I'll come to you in a second layer. The recruitment thing is, if people want to recruit, they will recruit. I don't need to do their job for them, because the demo scene is at least 18 months ahead of anything else that's out there. If you're doing something fantastic, people will notice. And if Sony and Sega and all these other people aren't watching, they're stupid.
I'm actually sorry. I just have to interrupt.
Yeah.
This is true 10 years ago. This is actually not true anymore.
If
you're looking at the technology and development side, I have indisputable evidence that Demoscene is not ahead of the developers that are developing for games or motion graphics anymore. That's simply not true anymore.
Would you say that was because the technology in the demo scene isn't ahead, or because people are restricting themselves to what they see on the Xbox 360, the PS3, the whatever?
That's hard to answer, but the fact is that we can no longer look at ourselves as we are the things that the game companies are copying. Woo, look at us, we did 3D before Doom. That's like 20 years ago. That's not reality anymore.
I would say 10 years ago, but yes, I agree with you.
Continue to say 20, but we'll have to disagree.
Okay, fair enough. At the end of the day, I would say that if somebody is looking for intelligent people who are great at graphics design and coding and whatever,
and lazy at coding,
you couldn't pick a better base than the demo scene.
As hiring as a professional who hires people to work for them, I would agree like 50%. Like,
okay,
you have to. I definitely look for demo scene people. Like, I don't need to see a resume from a school or a college or anything like that if I want to hire someone with demo scene background. But of course, there is also the personality. You have to work in a team.
Oh, of course, yes.
But now we're sort of like moving on a tangent of a tangent of a tangent in core.
I'll come to you in a second. Hang on, before you go on to that, I would say from the second element though, recruiting for the demo scene, getting people into the demo scene.
What do we do?
Is the hardest thing.
Answer, Matthew. Answer. What do we do?
What do we do?
Yes.
Give it to Leia.
You tell me.
Matthew, give it to
Leia's
Leia.
next. But I genuinely have no idea. If I knew, I'd be doing it. Trust me. Leia's next, then Zeton.
You should do exactly what Gloom did and the other guys at the Gathering from then on and up until now. Because the people at the Gathering have done an amazing job in recruiting people for the demo scene. If you've ever been to a Norwegian demo party, which you haven't, and you should be, like Solskogen or Kindergarten, you would see a lot of young people who are there, 18 years up. And they all come because they first were at the Gathering.
Yeah.
Which Gloom, I think, was the
well,
starter.
Not since 2005, but Anders and Ola and the rest.
Starter of, and I was going to come to that.
Yeah, okay.
And Duckers and the other guys have continued. And they do an amazing job in creating this creative era, which they call it nowadays. They have a lot of young people there. They all see the compost. They all get really excited. And then they come to the other small Norwegian demo parties. First of all, they come to Solskogen because it's the first one after the Gathering in the summer, and they stay there, and they start developing stuff.
I'm going to start talking in a minute. The question I want to ask you
one more
first.
thing.
Yeah, go for it.
And I've also heard, for example, Pinsa, who is a great demo scene musician, he started out as the gamer at Assembly. And then he had to watch the compost because you have to kill all audio and lights.
Yeah.
And then he got really, really excited about it, and he started making music.
So that is exactly what I was
recruiting
going to say.
place is these two big parties. the parties where you have both demo sceners and other computer interesting people.
That was exactly what I was going to ask you, which is that the people at my office, when I've only been at my job for 3.5 months, and when I said I was going to Finland, they were like, "Oh, why are you going to Finland?" or whatever. You're going to Sweden? Oh, look at what. The thing was, when I said demo scene, half the people had heard of it and they were really interested. The reason why they were interested is because they used to play computer games, and they saw things that were posted on sites or on magazines or whatever that were, ooh, thank you.
The list?
They were posted things that were very interesting, and the demo scene used to be on cover discs for Amiga magazines and whatever. The way I got into demos was reading Amiga Format, CU Amiga magazine in the UK, and they had demos, music discs, everything on the discs, and it's just not available today, so we have to find some way. Now, the gamers out there, it would be too easy to say they weren't interested. The thing is, when I meet them outside, I'm a smoker, I go out for a cigarette, too many times people come up to me and say, "Hey, I'm quite interested in the demo scene, I've seen it in the Compo Studio, can you tell me where to look next?" I don't want to say Puet.
And you shouldn't.
Never coming again.
And you shouldn't say that,
Yeah.
because that, at least that's my personal opinion. If you point people there, they're going to be scared shitless.
Exactly.
So but right now there is no current entry point. Mr. Mendes over here and myself are actually working on something that might be a better entry point. 2 different sites actually. But right now there is no sort of like one-stop shop for just go here, learn everything.
The 2 things I point to, and then I am coming to set up. Number 1, the Wikipedia article, which is plain but works. The second thing is, I say go to Trickster's site. What's it called?
You don't say
Yeah,
that
yeah.
to me.
Demo Vibes.
Explained or something. Demo scene explained.
I've got a booth upstairs specifically
They
set
don't
up.
come to the demo party. Nobody.
Oh, you're saying the guys that you're seeing outside smoking somewhere other than
No,
here?
no. I'm saying the people that I meet on the not on the street, but when I go to a networking conference, I work in the networking industry. I'm a network engineer. When somebody says they are interested in the demo scene, I've shown them a couple of things on my tablet or whatever. The next place to go is what?
Yeah.
Puet? God no. Bitfellas, it's
No.
great if you're interested, but no. If you want to go to Wikipedia, you're going to be bored. If you want anything, what's the DVD system? It used to be called DVD. Mind Candy.
Yeah, Mind Candy.
The Mind Candy set were fantastic. They've run out of number 1 and number 2. Number 3 is fantastic. It's on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But still, they want something more. And it would be great if we had something cohesive together that we could present.
It would be great if we realized that we were on the internet now and
Yes.
People aren't reading magazines anymore.
100% agree.
And also, I've been told from Norway we are like 6 SMS a night that fuckings to an Andromeda, so my duty is done.
So I'm
there
going
you
to
go.
set up, yeah.
Thank you.
So-
I think there are now 4 questions that I need to address or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know how we got sidetracked on recruitment, which is, I think, an interesting topic, and I agree. Demos are no longer, the forerunner technologically, but it is a good place to recruit early talent. So we'll get that done. That's dealt with. Recruiting people onto the scene. Matthew, just invite them to a party, not assembly necessarily, because
Which
there's the
reminds me,
gamers.
Sundown. If you
There's
come-
Sundown, Alt Party, Kindergarten, another party where they can come around. And we had a beginner's demo compo.
You did indeed.
It's perfect for them. So come there. We just recruited Zipod to our compo studio. So that's another example of recruitment.
If you are interested in music, by the way, and I know I'm interrupting you once again, but if you're interested in demo scene style music, honestly,
demo
there
scene
was
style
no, you know what I mean, chip music, whatever you want to call it.
We carry
The
everything.
alternative from O-Juice, part of O-Juice used to be Nectarine. Nectarine became Scene Music. When Scene Music basically became a jukebox, there was SceneSat. SceneSat I can't recommend strongly enough if you are interested through the music side into the demo scene culture. SceneSat, which is what Z4 mainly runs, is perfect. It is one of those things that when I tune in, I am not a fan of demo scene music, and I can listen for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and be entertained.
Matthew, I want to get back on topic though. So the Pyrotech demo.
Yes.
During the whole demo, it's interesting that you raised the notion of having a director. The thing that is really missing from the Pyrotech demo, and I think of this like during the whole demo, is a real artistic director. So
Yeah.
they have the effects there. They can, they have these bits and pieces, but they just don't have this kind of cohesive vision, and the camera movement paths are a bit lazy, not very innovative. So I think that is exactly where somebody who could come in and give that kind of artistic input would bring those demos up to a completely different level.
Let me turn that on its head then. The Rustbloom demo. Rustbloom have produced something at Assembly last year. I'm going to call it Grandma's Buttons because I can't remember what it was called. There was something at the Alt Party which was the Scanline, which honestly was my favourite by far from Alt Party. It was my absolute favourite.
You're stealing my point here.
Sorry. Rustbloom, this demo was nice but lacked something. Can you identify what that something was? Was it direction? Was it whatever?
Yes, I think actually pace is a good answer. I think it did have the direction, and I agree. I mean, Scanline that was a brilliant demo. Really, really loved that.
Forget it was Alt Party. It was a brilliant demo.
Yeah, exactly. I just think it was just
production.
awesome. And I've showed it to other people, and they were like, who weren't even aware of the demo scene, and they were like, "Oh, that is such an awesome demo."
It was.
But this time, I think the idea was really, really cool. I like organic. I would like to see much more kind of organic type demos, where the drawing, very sort of human type demos. But yeah, I agree that there was something missing there. I think there was just the final punch, which would have really sort of hit us, and that would have really, really nailed the whole topic for us. And I think maybe PS would have been part of that. But yeah, just something that to leave us with a question mark.
To distract your attention, at the moment I've got to my left a brief rundown of the demos. I've got the demos printed out in front of me. I think I haven't given enough time to talk about the Tart demo. Now, you guys may not remember it.
Did T101 want to say something about the
Does T101 want to say something?
Yes. What I tried to say about Arago. Regarding Rustbloom, I like their style. Last year at Assembly they had the Grandma's Buns or whatever, I forget the name, but it was a very original idea. Even though it was a kind of slow moving thing, but still it was an original idea. Then after that they did the Scanline at the Alt Party. Again, a very original idea and completely moving with their own direction. And now they did the Kawaii, however it is pronounced, with the kind of scribbling, drawing kind of effect. And then when I started to think Rustbloom as a whole, they are doing what they want to do, using demo scene as their media.
They are not chasing the easy vote.
No.
They are very much designing what they want to design.
They are artists.
And it is great.
Yes. With Tonic Coding and Saint Rana doing the graphics, and they are producing these very original ideas and standing out from your basic One Effect demos and whatnot. It caught my eye, and I think it's something that people should look into when they're looking at, especially Rustbloom productions. They are very original, and that's what I wanted to say about an hour ago.
Obviously, something that I have a huge appreciation for.
Yeah.
So I think this year again we'll be giving out the most original entry tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's something that I very much believe in, like pushing the edge and trying new things and and
not kind of falling into a mold or something. Just going, I want to do this, and we're going to do this, and we are not concerned what the other people are saying. It's just we are doing this. Period.
So I'm going to run down from 1 to 12, exactly in the order that it went. And if anybody wants to mention anything about the demos, I'll mention them here. I'll point out where they are on the screen. If anybody wants to say anything, put your hand up. I won't come to all of you but I would appreciate your opinions. First of all, the Tart demo. It was 20-year Jubilee Potpourri. I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce it in Finnish, but I was.
It's a French word. Potpourri.
Juhlasikarma. That's
Juhlasikarma.
Yeah, potpourri is French. Potpourri. Yeah, always. The Tart demo. Anybody want to comment on that? Because I quite liked it. I think that deserves to be in the top half at least. Anybody want to comment?
I found it boring.
Found it boring?
Yeah.
I would agree that it was a little slow paced. All right, fair
I
enough.
have to agree, it was really boring.
I honestly hope that's in the top half. Rushing Into by CCE and M square root of PASIC. PASIC. Anybody spot that? Yes, fourth on the top.
They did greet 3LN, which deserves respect.
Yeah, might have just gone down in my opinion. Buga by Department of Offense. Once again, it's a thing that.
Yeah. It was the green demo, and I really liked the soundtrack. It was awesome. Possibly the best soundtrack in the entire demo compo, including the CNCD production.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes, but then, except for the soundtrack, you had dark coder colors.
Yeah,
No, you have
it made no difference. It made no difference to me because when I really started to listen to the soundtrack, I even closed my eyes because the soundtrack, even though very basic, very simple, I know how it's done, but I just cannot reproduce it myself. But I liked the soundtrack so much, I didn't even give a shit about the coder colors, you know. That's it. It's a saver for that demo, in my opinion. But who gives a shit about my opinion anyway? So.
You do.
So this is Meteoroid, but I'm going to pronounce this in English and Finnish. So there's Humu and Avind, or Haimai and Awind. Can anybody find that on there? Meteoroid? In the centre. The big pink blob in the blocks. From what I remember from this, it had some interesting things in it. It was your average demo fare. I'm very glad they did contribute to assembly. It very much added to the demo scene experience, but I'm not sure whether.
That's the one we were saying that we were hoping that they were just getting started.
Yeah.
Which I think they are. I think I remember. I have trouble with the Finnish Y, but Humu. I think I remember that name from at least one production before, but still. It's a good base to build on, but try to build on it. I don't know where to go with it, but you can take it. It's your production.
If that genuinely was their first production, I think that definitely deserves a round of applause from us. I mean, that was really well done. Next, we're going to look at the Adapt demo, which was Born Stars. Now, all I remember from the Adapt demo was A, the word adapt coming to me on the screen, and B, lots of text.
Yes, and about the Adapt demo, I have to comment about it because the Deeper is a really good coder, but the thing that I don't understand is that the design has with Adapt demos have almost always been mediocre. So the code is actually really good, but it lacks design, and it's happening year after year, and this is my opinion about it.
Was this the one that used like really standard font to do some of the
Yes.
text?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
It was like, ooh, evil.
Not just the font, but putting up in 00 in the left corner is probably not what I want to do.
I think I can agree with that. Moving on, we're on number 6 now. Metamorph 2 by Zidane, Raiden, Ubik, Pavok, Sustrate. That's
Satori.
basically Satori. Yeah.
Satori rules.
Satori and Elude, yes.
If it doesn't win, it's an outrage.
Absolutely.
Now, the one thing I mentioned this
So
we
it's an
haven't mentioned
outrage
before, the consistently wide text that moved up the screen can get very boring very quickly, and I thought they carried it off.
Yes.
I thought the way they brought everything up with the old like nuclear submarine kind of text that went up, whatever, they clicked it perfectly. set up in the computer.
I'm a big fan of Satori, so I mean, this was a nice demo. It wasn't my favorite from them, but I like what they're doing. I wonder, Riaz, just a quick, interesting question. They still use a software renderer.
Yeah.
Is that relevant these days anymore? Because
Nobody cares.
No. That's not my point. My point is that back in the days it was interesting because you could tweak the screen in ways that you couldn't do with basic OpenGL. But now with shaders, it's actually they're pretty on level ground, right?
There's nothing you can't do. It's
Okay.
Yeah, there's more.
I'm gonna pick
There's
you up on
feedback
that.
now, and
There is one thing that pisses me off more than anything else in the entire world, which is when gamer friends of mine back in the UK say, "Oh, the graphics are better because they're DirectX 11 instead of DirectX 9." There's no such thing as better graphics because of the latest version of your API or whatever. There is the various tools that you are using. You can make something look better, you just have to code it, you just don't have to rely on the API. And it very much annoys me when somebody says, "Oh, well, software rendering, it must be shit, because DirectX 57
which is why Starstruck won a couple years ago,
Exactly.
right?
Starstruck, when it came out on the Amiga, was one of those things that just blew your mind away, because you forgot that you can do things in software and don't have to rely on an API with 65 levels of bloom and shaders that take 16 hours to compile.
Or
And-
simply because you don't care.
Exactly.
I find if like anyone who's entered a demo into a competition knows that you're allowed to put in like your notes that are shown on the big screen. If you put rendered in software, yay, you are a loser. Stop doing it. Seriously, I'm not joking. Just
completely
stop
agree.
doing it because yes, you might win some points with some easily influenced people, but don't do it. Just make it look good. It doesn't matter how you render it. Just make it look good and interesting and funny and whatever. How you render it is unimportant. Our engine is DirectX 9 or whatever. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
To that point, people don't care enough to have even read that was an OpenGL demo by Satori. They used OpenGL in that one. It's not all software rendering. It's a combination.
Is it not?
Who cares what you use? It's what's on the screen.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
We've agreed. Hold on. Here's the thing. Not only have we agreed twice, they also have on the screen that we shouldn't drink the water, or there's something about water in Helsinki.
it's been fixed.
Okay, it may have been fixed.
Don't
but I
say
mean,
that.
It's
We were just
We're
about to
in-
start drinking beer.
We all know.
We're in
As every-
Finland. How
Truck-
can we not drink water?
Truck,
or-
everybody knows what you should do. If you get infected, the only way to harm them is to shoot them in the head.
Right, I'm going to move on. Like I said, the story demo was very nice. I think we've said enough about that for the moment. Old is Not Dead by Bike Rapers and Doomsday. I said plenty about this. Like I say, it's largely 90% a partial production. Bike Rapers is supposedly going to merge with Decadence, I think it is, for... Maybe it's not Decadence, but they're going to
Doomsday.
collaborate for Revision 13. They're
Sorry,
gonna
that's a
collaborate
different
in
point.
Revision
Why do we
13.
keep talking about groups? I mean, Matt Smash made an excellent point like a few years ago that there are really no more groups anymore. It's just individuals now working together, like cross groups. Like groups were important like 10, 15, 20 years ago. That doesn't really happen anymore.
Qualify that, because I think, yes, you're absolutely right. When it comes to people who've been in the same groups for 5 years,
Yeah.
it's nice for them to move around. They create new stuff. They create.
Like, I mean, I'm excluding like the groups who like exclusively release something at the gathering or
Yeah,
at
yeah.
assembly and so on and so forth. But group-wise, if you look at the top tier of CNCD and Fairlight, and they're all just switching coders and
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's a fucking.
Well, I
you
think
know,
Matthew has a point that I mean, when you're just starting off, it feels great that you have your own group and you put your own grip on the screen.
yeah,
and
but
you're
if,
working together
if
as
you and me
friends.
remember back to our youth, we ended up in a group because that was the only other guy with a computer in our neighborhood. At least that's my first group. Was a terrible coder, but he was the only one that was available to me, right? That's not reality anymore. Everybody gets together on the internet, IRC,
But it still
Poet,
feels
whatever.
cool to whenever you get your demo on the screen. And
Yeah,
you're
but that's
part of
about
that group.
identity, right? But you can have an identity in formal production for CNC and Fairlight or whatever other group there is that has the name on it. It doesn't really matter, right? Because it was you two guys, you made the demo with Smash, or you made the demo with Navis, right?
Having said that, I don't want to see ever again in a demo in the, I can't remember, Wild or short film or whatever, where there were 7 full names on a screen. It is really hard to read that. And yes, I completely agree that, you know, Smash, Matt Swoboda, whatever you want to call him, he is the guy in charge of the code on that demo. But it is easier when you say this is the group. And it's a shorthand for that group.
But then again, I think Smash would disagree with you, because every time he gets a gazillion awards at the Scene Org Awards, the first thing he does is to say everybody should greet Desktop, because he actually directed this thing, but nobody does.
Absolutely, I'm going to layer in a sec, but what you said is that name voting can be something entirely, and
when the results come from this competition, I think we'll all agree that name voting
it's been
decided the first place again.
Leia, you want to say something?
Actually, I talked with Smash earlier and asked him, so which group are you releasing under? And he said, well, it's only CNCD now. And why is that? Yes, because whenever they release a demo, which has Fairlight, CNCD, and so on, it's always the Fairlight demo.
This is true.
And he was really, really mad about that. And he really wanted to show people that actually Desktop is the one who has created the graphics and the direction for all these demos, and they always just call it the Fairlight demo. So now they were tired of it, so now it was only CNCD.
And if there's anybody as guilty of that as anybody, that would be me. In that, in previous years, I have said this is the CD and Fairlight demo aren't Fairlight so great, and whether they always make great demos, and that's really unfair on everybody else. And if anything, I need to apologise to them for that. But I definitely see your point, Gloom. And I wish there was an easy way around it, but if you have 5, 7, 10 people in a group, it's really hard to remember who's made what. But then again,
you don't.
Who cares who made it?
That's
it's the demo.
You don't have 5, 7 members in a group anymore. You don't have 7 swappers. That doesn't exist anymore. You have a coder, maybe 2.
Farrush FRO25, although, yeah, we're looking like 8 years ago now.
And 16 musicians if you're Brainstorm. Everybody fighting about, and all of them are great. So, you know, getting to make a music for a demo is sort of a problem. But that's the thing, like, you have Brainstorm or you have Darklight, you have groups with a gazillion members.
Is it time
so
to
the
drop
group
groups,
identity doesn't really...
doesn't have that much. Easel has.
Yeah, he has a few.
Is it time to drop groups? Will you
No, I think it's a good thing to have a label. Like you can say Coca-Cola, everybody knows immediately what you're talking about. Good, bad, whatever. Everybody knows what you're talking about. From a marketing perspective, it makes perfect sense to slap a label on something to say, because you get like the applause when everybody knows that this is coming up, like CNCD.
There is definitely an ASD demo. I'm not sure whether it was a Navish demo. There's definitely an ASD style. There's definitely a...
Pyrotech, let's talk a little bit about them.
We're coming up to them literally next. But
okay.
What I do want to do is hand over to Truck for a second.
Oh no, I was waving at the camera.
Oh, were you? Okay. We're coming Pyrotech, Elude, Division, Rust, Bloom, CNCD. So give yourself a think. But first of all, Escape by Pyrotech. Now, we look at Pyrotech on the screen, which is over here. That screenshot tells me nothing about the demo, because all I remember from Pyrotech was the name Pyrotech on the screen. That is literally the only scene I remember
Wasn't
from
that
the
one
demo.
with the
I
Zeppelin?
think that's really unfair.
You don't remember the teddy bear at the end?
Yeah,
No.
the teddy bear and the Zeppelin, the flew over.
Genuinely, I don't.
Okay, well.
That's because you were taking the bathroom at that time.
People kept on feeding me drinks of certain sorts. But yeah, the Pyrotech demo really impressed me at the beginning, and it looked like it was going to be an amazing demo. And I can't remember any of the effects.
But does anyone know?
It had Zeppelins in it. And it had a flow in it.
Do they have 2 musicians? I'm not making a joke or anything. because
No, that one was not the one with 2 musicians.
Okay,
that I
because
remember.
like in the middle you have the introduction, you have the teddy bear, you have everything looks really smooth and nice, and even the text looks nice now, and then just something happened, like a completely different soundtrack, different volume, different everything. Just it sounded like coming from 2 different guys, but I don't really know because I didn't see the credits.
This was a good Pyrotech demo,
Yeah.
but other Pyrotech demos remain more in my head, if that
But
makes any sense.
am I correct in saying that Pyrotech is sort of like the wannabe ASD? Or am I the only one thinking this right now?
You are wrong. I came down on them so hard for that one year, and I already have said that perhaps, and they already came back to me and said, we've tried specifically not doing that. So they've tried to veer away from that. At one time, I accused them of that. I think we should judge them on other merits.
I
now.
don't think it's like a negative thing. I don't think there's something negative at all about deriving inspiration. Like his group came from watching our demos, so I know. But I don't think there is anything not wrong with that. If we're talking about, the green demo, I don't know what it's called, the Coder Color one that everyone calls it, the Matrix demo. If everybody comes down on them and say they don't know anything about the demo, nobody has said anything about the demo except, well, good luck next time. That's basically your message. But aren't we supposed to, after like 4 or 5 Pyrotex demo, to be allowed to say, look, guys, just seriously, try a little harder, please?
Yeah. But I said that after the first one, and I feel that they have.
And I'll have to comment that the Pyrotech has actually made some pretty decent demos on Flash, like 6 years ago. But now that since they moved to this 3D crap, and it started to be a bit more worse. So I think that it might be that the camera directions and so on are. They are not so advanced in that sense yet. So
is it too easy these days just to go straight full 3D? Is 2D when somebody just manipulates the frame buffer instead of trying to create some kind of GLC?
We're the only one who cares about this. Again, 2D, 3D, as long as it looks good.
As long as it looks good.
Yeah.
But there is an aesthetic part to it, and I think that 2D as a kind of aesthetic has been forgotten in many ways. So everybody feels compelled to do 3D, whereas you can actually do some very interesting stuff just with like sort of 2D.
I think that the third dimension adds complexity in terms of how much work you have to do to make it look good.
But do you understand what I mean when I say Farbrausch's Masagin is a 2D demo? Yes, it does lots of zoomy things and it does lots of different things, but that is a 2D demo to me, and that looked amazing compared to some 3D demos that I see that that they're cubes as opposed to squares. When I say 3D, I mean.
Are you saying there's
models.
something wrong with cubes?
Yes, I'm saying that be a model demo or be a design demo.
I think it's perfectly possible to be both. If you look at ASD demos, you typically have typical 2D camera path actually, just doing tracking shots.
In Life Force in particular.
And all of them basically, but then you have it turning around and then showing something else. So, I mean, aesthetically, you have to do more work to do a 3D demo.
Yeah.
But that's where we are now. I mean, you can do like what's the 4K thing that was the text-only 4K that was nominated for the scene.
That was the Control-Alt-Test.
Yeah. That's artsy. It's text.
Yeah.
Fading text. Everybody loved it, right?
I did.
We agree on something else. I think the world's about to end now. So, but there is no. I mean, we can discuss up and left and left and right again what the aesthetic should be. But the point is that everybody makes whatever they want to make, and I think this typically shows it. Like, I think it's a bad sign when everybody in the compo studio has to look over to the screen to remember the first 9 entries. I'm not saying that to be a dick, but it's true.
You made a very good point there.
Like, what was that again? Oh yeah, it was that. Oh, whatever. and it's really sad because these guys really put their like sweat and tears in making some of this. Some of it's beginner stuff, but at least they tried, right?
We've got 4 inches to go on to, but what you've just hit on is really important, which is that assembly isn't just the one that does that. I know Revision, I know everybody does it, which they put what they consider the better demos to be towards the end of the compo.
But that's because you have to build a show.
Yeah.
If you put like crap, the best demo, crap, and 11 whatever demos, then you didn't build a good show.
If you were being fair, you'd randomize them, but that doesn't create a good show.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're going to end there and say Elude Reboxer. Now, Reboxer was another one of those things where when you saw the Elude demo, it had lots of stuff going on screen. I think that's fair to say. I don't know if anybody remembers it. There was lots of tiny things.
I think a lot of us do remember it.
Amiga.
Yes, it was an Amiga demo, but I forgot it was an Amiga demo while it was going on because of how it was built.
Until the one point where it went slow and it was rotating around the 3D model, and then I could see the fact that it wasn't HD and the rest of them were.
Okay, that's fair
When
to
it
say,
went
but
slow.
my eyes are bad, so I
Yeah.
couldn't see that.
When it went slow, you remembered, oh yeah, this is an Amiga demo. Until then, you just thought, hey, it's a pretty good demo.
It looked good. I forgot that of the platform. The platform didn't matter, and it had a good pacing. I think maybe it might have been a little too brown in places,
Possibly,
but
yeah.
on the other hand, adding coder colors to it may have been a design decision that
Yeah.
they wanted to stay away from.
It was, which was the one that was full of blue and red? Somebody will have to
It
add
was
to
not
me.
that one.
It was not that one, no, but there was a blue and red one.
They were
Blue and red.
blue, but not blue and red.
Anyway, Seto, you wanted to add something?
No, actually, I don't know if I have anything to really add to that. Just a quick question that was it AGA Amiga, but was it like 060 or PPC? Do you
It
know?
just said Amiga AGA. That's all it said.
Anybody know what the actual?
In most cases, it'll probably run fastest on an 060. It'll run on an 040 Amiga. It probably does not run on an 030 all that well. You're probably talking
Probably
040,
meant 020.
060.
It's suddenly an FPU.
It
Whatever.
definitely
so,
is.
I mean,
It's an FPU.
the point is, it probably wasn't a standard 1200, but I'm just wondering if it was like PowerPC or was it 060?
Absolutely not PowerPC.
No, that's going to be a 060 or 040.
Right.
Yeah. Which is pretty much the standard platform for high-end Amiga demos these days. It's 040, 060s, a bit extra fast RAM, and maybe 2 megs of chip RAM. It's a machine that you can buy in a shop. Although you have to buy it at a specialized Amiga shop because nobody sells Amigas
Or
anymore.
eBay.
Or eBay, yeah. But you can pick up a machine that will run this.
And your turbo cards will be ridiculously expensive compared to anything
Absolutely
else.
ridiculously expensive. Please, folks, start making inexpensive Amiga turbo cards. We would love to buy them.
That's going to be an interesting thing. So we have mentioned this before, but I definitely want to come back to it again because it was a good demo. Hedron by Division. Now Division made a good demo here. I think they made some nice graphics, made some nice effects, made some nice music. However, they might not have integrated well. What do people think about that?
I would say that Division, having released demos over the past couple assembly, they have built on it, and this is the best one that they've done yet, but it's not top level yet. But they're continuing to build, and I would like to see them make more demos and release not just at assembly.
Of course.
I take that back. I think they have released at other parties before. I just don't remember which ones.
I'm desperately trying to find on the screen while looking at the same time where Hedron is.
Yeah.
Where are we looking?
In the middle part.
Oh, where it says Ron.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yes.
Elron.
Yes. L. Ron Hubbard is it.
I seem to remember there was quite a lot of polygons in it. That I seem to show it. There's a difference. Ooh, hello. There's a difference between what I see as fluid demos and stuff that, when something breaks into polygons, it just looks cheap to me. And I think that's very unfair, but I think that's definitely something that happens in my head. That if something breaks into polygon, like there was a short film entry where they were shooting the Amiga ball and it broke into 25 exact polygons that fall to the ground. And it's just a cheap effect to me. Something that we left behind 20
You thought it
years
was
ago.
cheap when it exploded, or you thought it was cheap when it was an Amiga ball?
Cheap when it exploded. Something that explodes into
Because if you
polygon.
put an Amiga ball in a wild entry or whatever you're talking about, it's pretty cheap.
It is anyway,
Already,
yes. It is already, but it looks cheaper when you are.
Look, we rendered this Amiga ball in Maya.
It was, yeah. When you are factoring something into components, when it goes into large polygons, it looks cheap. Whereas if it just immediately went into dark particles.
My big hate is like triangle explosions. Please
Yeah.
stop doing that.
Yeah,
It's very, very, very ugly.
I completely agree with that. However, I would say that despite that, Division made a really good demo.
Yeah, I agree.
Super.
I liked it.
What's wrong with this combo studio? We're awfully civilized now.
Well,
We don't have Matt or Reed or anyone.
We're coming to the
to-
last
no
two, and then
no
we're gonna become
ASD
civilized
demos.
again.
Mavis isn't here to hand wrestle,
Well,
so.
we have been talking for quite a long time now, but we're going to go to the last two. Kawaii by Rustbloom. We have mentioned it before. Rust Bloom, like I say, have made 2 demos. I've only seen 2 of their demos as far as I'm aware. They've made 2 demos that I really quite liked. They weren't number 1s in my head, but they were certainly top 3s that I enjoyed. Anybody want to add something about Kawaii? Rust Bloom in general?
I think we already said it, pacing.
Okay. I think we genuinely, I think Rust Bloom made a nice little thing.
Excuse me, Matt.
So I guess not Jason.
Sure, yeah.
Go for this one. The only comment I have on that one is that it was just really enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know, it was some of the other ones. I was sitting there going, "Oh wow, how is this Amiga doing this technical effect?" And my head was really analyzing it and going, "But why?" It was just really,
This was
really
a
easy
journey.
to watch.
Yeah, it was a nice journey.
You know, there was no sudden transition that really broke me. You know, even at times it did have transitions, but it was just really easy to watch.
It was.
So, I hope there's more like that.
So some of the designs that were some of the things they were building up. I swear I'm not supposed to do that. I'm not supposed to notice shit that happens out of the corner of my eye. But the way that some of the models built up and the graphics kind of designed, it was just easy to watch and quite nice. And I appreciate that in a demo. And it's not often that you get something that is slow paced in the demo scene that also wants you to keep on watching. If something is slow, generally you go, "Oh, I'll get to the next scene." And this was quite pleasurable. I think people can agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in addition to maybe the pace, I think it just lacked, one surprise.
Yeah.
Something that would have gone like, that really closed it for me.
But I think they would have had to redesign the entire demo. If they'd done that.
No. Keep the demo as it is, but just have like something, towards the end, which would have surprised.
30 seconds of dubstep, right?
Yeah.
Then everybody would have loved
I
it.
completely disagree with you.
Or an exploding. No, I don't mean stuff like that. I mean just like a small twist, something that would tell a story.
Yeah. Okay. So now we go down to the final one, Space Cut by CNCD. It is a demo that, for me, I started watching it. The first 30 seconds, I was absolutely convinced this was going to be the best of the competition. Then after 30 seconds, I was like, when's it going to start? Does anybody else feel that way? The square, the cube that came towards me and then stayed in the middle of the screen looked like an amazing effect, and then it was still there 30 seconds later.
I mean, you should ignore effect. It was one of the best visuals I've seen all year. I mean, it looked awesome. I was like, my whole body was tingling. I can't wait for this to sort of explode or something to happen.
I really like the cube thing, so I actually disagree on that point.
Really?
There were parts of the demo that I did or were too slow, but I really like the cube. But then again, I love cubes in demos.
Everybody does.
But I agree with that. It did make me sort of tingle and sort of like.
Yeah, and it also it shows you a little bit of exercise in design. Just like beginner tip to everybody: if you're having struggle with doing your demo, the answer is not moving the camera faster.
No.
Yeah.
It's actually moving it slower. So
Or
whenever
not
your
even,
instinct,
or not even at all.
whenever your instinct tells you to just move everything around, just don't. It'll be better.
Okay, what I'm going to do is, because that demo was last, I think it stays in people's minds first. They're all going to watch it later. You've got, I think it's 8 hours, 10 hours left of the voting. Oh God, it's quite late now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up to 3 last questions, which happen to be in my head. I'm going to name the first one now, which is, there are people... well, yes. The number one question, though, is people out there who have been mad enough to watch this for the last hour or so, they might be interested in the demo scene. They might be interested in learning more about it. Now, the number one thing we want to say is watch more demos, or go to a party, or both.
Yes.
How do they do that? Leia.
I'm not going to answer your question, but I'm going to cue in on this, and then the others can answer the question. But
Sure.
for the people out there who has been mad enough to watch this for so long, and I really have to do 2 things. I need to shout out to the shadow parties in Oslo and in Denmark because I know they're watching. And then I need to shout out to the Scene.no IRC channel because they have been dissecting everything me and Gloom and Irvin has been saying for the last 2
Yeah,
hours.
everything Urusam is saying, he's been like monopolizing the whole panel for an hour now. So
The number of pictures that are of various of us that are already on numerous websites that have been Photoshop manipulated.
Well, before we go into that, I was hoping you were going to mention Scene.org Awards. Now, the thing that I wouldn't say I got bored with the demo scene, but I was desperately trying to find something new and interesting in the demo scene, and I only came to Assembly and to Breakpoint, and that was it. And the thing that really got me back into the demo scene was looking at the nominations for the Scene.org Awards. Forget the awards themselves, that's great, but the nominations gave me a great playlist to watch. Is there anything else that people can do? I mean, there's obviously a party in every country, hopefully, that people are watching from. Is there anything else people can do?
Well, we do have the various radio stations and various radio shows.
and also Truck the YouTube channel. Annie has
Yes.
like a YouTube channel of many really good captures of demos as well.
On top of that, there's also
The live capture.
yeah, the live captures. But I was thinking, what is it's capped.tv.
Yes. Cap.tv.
And please, when you have something that that you've captured, upload it to Capped TV as well as Vimeo or YouTube, because that gives a central location for people to go, just like what you were saying with the Scene.org award list. Also, hit up IRC, and I know some folks that are not inside of Finland.
IRC is a technology that was stop doing it. Go to Skype.
No, absolutely. I'm not going to use a Microsoft product where they actually sit there and watch me, period. I control my own servers for IRC, and I'm comfortable with that, but I'm not comfortable with Microsoft sitting there watching.
But
So
if you
I'm not
aren't on
gonna
IRC,
use that.
where can you go to?
Well, no, they should actually go to IRC because that's where the people are. It's a social thing. And if you are not comfortable with that, then go there once and start talking to people and then start up an email conversation. Or go to demo scene or demoparty.net, find a party nearby.
This is exactly what I'm saying.
And find out if they actually accept remote entries, and then get some folks that are nearby you who are friends to work on things. And if you can't find anybody, okay, if there are such things as groups on Skype, which I don't know, then great, but otherwise hit up the IRC thing. In Finland, we use IRC. And there are tons of friendly Finns who will talk to you. They'll also say weird words, and they'll
We
make fun
are
of
also physical entities, so you
Yes.
can also talk to us live. We
Yes.
are at a demo party.
But on the other hand, that is one of the points that he made. He can't. They can't fly over all the time. So I'm talking about how do they actually deal with things without having to spend a tremendous amount of money.
That he was going to raise a point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see if I can remember it. So at least one of the points I was going to make was just kind of adding on to, how do you get started? Reiterating one of the points I had, there's processing.org and there's Cinder, which are both very easy to get into. So, you don't have to delve into the Windows API immediately. Right, the other point I was going to make is, so this last year we ran our first demo party, and it was small, but we did get at least one original compo in there. And it was a first-time person who'd never done one. He did most of it, I think, there himself, and it was in processing. And, it wasn't what I would call a great demo or even really a good one, but it was definitely, what you want to see out of a first-time person. He had cubes, he had, some of the canonical elements, and he'd gotten most of that just by, kind of looking through a bunch of the videos that were online. A less user-friendly way of getting at some of the really great videos is to go onto Pue and scroll down the list of parties and go, okay, what got first, second, and third?
The first site that somebody shouldn't go on is definitely Pue. I mean, Pue is a site that you should avoid big time.
No, seriously, it needs to be burned to the ground.
It is a fantastic demo scene resource. But
Modifications. Just avoid the BBS.
Absolutely.
The one-liner.
You cannot avoid Pruett because honestly there is nothing else which has a listing with the results.
Absolutely, and it is a fantastic resource for looking up stuff.
And yes, it needs to come with the mother of all bullshit filters.
Yeah.
You know, I'll come straight out and say I've never actually been anywhere other than the prod listing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lucky you.
Just ignore the BBS.
amazing resource.
I made the mistake of arguing with people on Pue before. But
We apologize.
it's fine. But so actually, I think I could throw in a few words about how we personally got into writing demos.
That would be great.
So, you know, while I think, the processing route, going for the easy things, wonderful. What happened for us is, so like I said, we're a computer club from a university in the US, and the club has had a tradition of watching demos for a long time. I would imagine it started with, like some club members back in the 90s who had, grown up reading BBSs and such, and reading Amiga magazines, etc., liked watching demos, and that's just a tradition that stuck with us. So for years, we would put on an event where we would screen a bunch of demos. Nobody ever thought of writing one, but then, so how did we end up doing a Lisa demo? Well, this actually wasn't our first one. We did one back in 2011, released at Pixel Jam in the US, and so basically what happened there was the club had this Lisa, and we're like, what are we going to do with a Lisa? So we managed to get it to work again. We're like, okay, we have a working Lisa. It's wonderful. What do you do with the thing? It takes forever. Takes forever to boot. Has a spreadsheet program. Weighs about 25 kilograms. Not incredibly useful for serious computer work. Cool piece of history. And someone just jokingly suggested writing a demo for it. So we did.
Kilograms, I've never heard of those. We use pounds in Europe. Yes. I'm going to come to Z-Folder in a sec, but first of all, what I'd say is, what I really hope is that when I saw that it was the Carnegie Mellon Computer Club, what's it called?
Yeah.
Computer Club. When I saw that at the end of the demo, because it was initialized at the beginning, I really hope that somebody sees that and go, oh wow, this is a scene in America. I want to beat these guys. I genuinely hope somebody sees it and goes, I want to beat these guys. I want to show them what I can do.
We would love to see someone else write a Lisa demo.
Absolutely. Oh, it doesn't have to be Lisa. It could be the Apple II. It could be the, I don't know, it could be the Mac. Spectrum, I don't really think is going to happen. No, if I saw a BBC Micro B demo, I'd be really impressed. But anyway.
You did see one. You saw one at Sundown.
No, from the States, I mean.
Oh, well, yeah, that was...
Because we did have Nick at
we did, yeah.
At Sunrise, which you remember, I hope.
Exactly, yeah. BBC Micro B, I've only ever seen 2 demos, so that was amazing. Yeah. But what I would say is that the thing that seems to compel people the most in the demo scene is, I want to beat that. I like that, but I want to beat that. I think I can do better.
I think actually really crap demos are actually quite inspirational, because like, that doesn't look too difficult. I want to do something better. I won't be the worst.
Yeah. Just kind of step into the shadows and go, hey, I'm going to beat him with that. Anyway.
Well, compo filler and joke productions are great.
Exactly, yeah. And Winner demo actually won. I'm going to come to Z-Fold first, and then I'm going to come to you, to Gloom.
Well, one way of actually getting into watching demos and experiencing parties if you're not there is actually by following us at SceneSet. What we do and what we try to do is to be at as many parties as possible, which is not easy because they're spread out pretty well. But we're quite a bunch of us now, and a lot of people are going to different parties. I mean, we have both Truck and Frankie here. They cover a bunch of parties as well. And me, I'm trying to go to as many as possible. And what we're trying to do now is to get more of the video feeds going as well. So it's not only audio. So, I mean, yes, we are SceneSet Radio, but we're trying to be just SceneSet.
And you do the video, of course, as well.
Nowadays, we're trying to do that as well. And it is also a good way of, I mean, our main goal is to have fun, because that's what we do, and to be able to get people inspired to actually come to parties, to participate in parties. For instance, I think it was Evoke 2 years ago, Evoke being the next weekend as well in Cologne in Germany. We did a broadcast, an audio broadcast, and one of the old school Amiga musicians came on to the IRC, started chatting. He's like, okay, this is cool, and I got to go next year, which he did. It was a gesture of sanity, of course. So he got inspired to get to the party just because he felt the party atmosphere from a distance.
What I find really weird, just before I come to Gloom, is I was at the scene booth earlier, and there was 2 Germans talking to me and Truck earlier, and they said, "Oh yes, we came all the way from Cologne." I was like, "Dude, there's a party next week from Köln-Kalk. It is like a couple of kilometres from your house." It's like, "Oh, we've never heard of this before." It's like 2 kilometres from your house. I mean, we have one party a year in the UK. You have like quite a few in the Nordic countries. You have quite a few in Germany and France. It's going to be Maine, whatever. It's amazing how people don't hear about these things. And somebody said it earlier, I can't remember, but demoparty.net seems to be the thing to hammer home, because there's stuff in Boston, Massachusetts, there's stuff in Utah, there's stuff in UK, stuff in Finland, in Germany, there's stuff in, Slovenia, I think there was as well, and Hungary. And it's amazing that people forget it.
We need to point out, if you have a demo party and you are not putting it on demoparty.net, you are doing the scene a disservice. Because first of all, people can't find it necessarily to get there. But secondly, other demo party organizers are going to demoparty.net and they're looking to see what days there is a party already. And they will try very hard not to land on the same weekend. They can't always do it. But if you don't put your party on demoparty.net, you're gonna end up with somebody that has a conflict, and then you're gonna lose people coming and having a great social event and a great demo party.
So we're going to come to Gloom first, and then I'm going to go for my last couple of questions.
Yeah, I mean, we skipped around from the original point, but we're talking about, sort of average demos or whatever, being inspirational. I just want to kill one thing that's been perpetuated for eternity by just some single individuals, and that's that really good demos disparage people from making demos because they lose motivation. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
And everyone who says this is true should stop talking to other people.
Yeah.
And that was my only point. Now he wants to say something.
Can we go drink now? Are we done?
We're coming to that. Second point, I'm going to ask the microphone to be passed across. You'll, Zuford, if you pass it to the centre, because we're going to come from you, so that it's spoken.
That was not my point. I think good demos are.
Your point, but I mean, people do say that, and it's rubbish.
He's got the microphone, yeah. So what we'll do is we'll start off in that corner. When we get to Sato, we'll start moving across here, and then we'll go across. What I would like to do is ask everybody if they could choose one demo that they want people to watch, not their favourite demo, but a demo they want somebody to watch, and it's okay to repeat.
From Assembly or whatever?
From wherever, and anything that will run either on a common platform that's on YouTube. So anything from basically 1955 onwards, as long as it's on YouTube. If you're going to name something, what would it be? So if we start in the corner, chap in the blue shirt. You got an idea?
Detox by Satori.
Okay, right, yeah, I can understand that.
This is all a bit sudden. World Domination by Odd.
You're allowed to say your own demo.
I actually like Sunflower by Pulse, actually.
Now Sunflower by Tesla as well is a fantastic demo. We'll carry on by that. Yeah,
I'm just going to go to my all-time favorite, maybe, which is Meteor by Fairlight and CNCD.
Haitta and Vaiva by Flow.
Yeah, very nice.
Well, I actually don't have that kind of favorite, and I don't want to just say that some of my friends' demos, they're really great. But I think everybody should watch at least some different kind of demos.
Yes.
Not just one kind. I think there is really great demos and different kind of designs. So I cannot really say that one is a favorite. So I really love that there is more and more different kind of designs and different kind of ideas.
Perfect, thank you. Frankie, we've come to you
Okay.
next before we go
Yes,
behind you.
I have a microphone, thank you. I'm going to cheat a wee bit and quickly name two.
Okay, go for it.
First one is Human Target.
Okay. By,
And a second one because it's the king of celebrity.
Human Target by who, sorry?
Melon was it?
Rebels.
Rebels, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, that's Melon Design, released at the Easter Conference in Beer City, Belgium, 1992.
20 years old, okay.
Yes, indeed. And a second one because it is the highest point of self-relativation. There's the winner demo by Metal Watson.
Controversial pick there.
Okay. So if we
because we have computers which can beat your computers. That's the only reason why.
there were other themes in that demo as well. We'll just skip over that.
No, 3.60 meters.
So behind you, you're obviously from the States. Somebody would say that if you were going to choose a demo, it would be something that was slightly more popular. But what would you go for?
Well, so there was one that came immediately to mind, and that was Rove.
Really?
And the
Okay.
thing, well, I love it. As a demo.
Yeah.
The graphical style is, kind of exactly what I'm looking for in a demo, a modern demo.
Yeah.
But one of the things I love about it is something that someone should watch first is that the text in it is all talking about the history of the demo scene.
Yeah.
The culture, the tradition. And so I always find it, slightly sad and also very inspirational.
Purely out of curiosity, how did you discover that?
We have the official, demo night, demo watching that we do each
Oh,
year.
wow, okay.
Yeah, so we run that as part of what we do for the university.
Hmm.
And we always fill the auditorium, and we end up having to show real reality, the really, really bad hand
The
cam.
wild one. Yeah.
to get people to leave. And it doesn't work.
Come on.
And
Really?
so then we shut down all the lights and say, no, really, guys.
You mean the piece of bread with the cheese on it and everything that goes around? Yeah.
Have you tried showing the winner demo?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Okay.
Breakpoint 2004 is worth a go.
We have people who sit there watching for 8 hours. Well longer than we
Shit.
can actually stand to put them on, at least as an entire group. I think at one point I went home and kept watching demos, but yeah. So there's so many demos that come out each year. We have to pick which ones we're going to show. We're already, like I said, at 8 hours, so we can really only afford to add like 1 or 2 a year. And so we do a private viewing and we watch just hours and hours and hours of demos.
I've been watching demo scene stuff for 20 years. I couldn't last 8 hours. I think that would kill me.
Well, I think first timers have a bit of a benefit there.
Possibly.
But yeah, Rove came up in one of those, and
marvelous.
it's been a group favorite ever since. If I had to cheat, and you did first, Chaos Theory is another personal favorite.
By Conspiracy?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great demo, and
that was an assembly demo as well, so yeah.
Yeah. Not the 4K. The 4K is a great.
Don't say demo about
Yeah.
64K.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
Some get a bit blasted.
he's talking about you remember, the 4K version of that, which was done for last year.
mean
Not the
behind the
64.
curtain?
No, I meant the full size
Right,
version.
right.
But yeah. So.
Cool. We'll move around before we come to Tola. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is going to count as a demo since it's 4K, but one of my favorites overall is Elevated, just because I think, if it was bigger than 4K, I'd still just really enjoy watching that because I think
it is beautiful, not just the music, but the visuals and everything.
Yeah,
if that
and just
wasn't a
together,
4K, it would still
they're
win.
Fantastic.
Okay, we'll include intros as well into this. Yeah. Any suggestions?
So I don't know tons and tons of demo names by heart, but I can think of 2 fairly recent PC demos that are ones I've shown to people who have asked me, so what the heck is this demo scene thing? One of them is Wer sind Einstein.
But it was done by not Gagai, but it was done by UFNDD or something. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Slash by Boise. Yeah. That was a really nice demo. That was a really nice demo. Yeah.
And the other one, this is probably one everybody's seen a million times, with the popular demo by Farbrosch.
Of course.
Is,
Yeah.
You show those to people, and I feel like they give people a good idea of what the demo scene is.
And there's no shame of that. But it was 2003, was it? Breakpoint 2003.
No, it was last year.
It was not last year. It's 9 years old now, and we still point to that as that's an amazing demo.
Well,
so that
it also
says
has the
something about it.
advantage that it would run on my not that new laptop without
Exactly.
dying.
And it looks and sounds really good as well. So, you know, it's really nice design from the Germans there. We're going to come to Toller in front of you now.
You stole my thing, so I think Verbrauch ate the product. Still a nice thing to show.
Was the product 64K at the
That
party?
was 64K.
Yeah.
That was a 64K from 2000, and it still runs on everything you throw. Basically, everything can run it that runs Windows, and you can use it to say, "Well, this is kind of the idea," and then you can go into and then later this happened, and show people chaos theory first, and then so people thought it was too big, so they made a 4K of it. And there were still more people who were not convinced that was the best way to do it, so they made another 4K of it.
I think that's very fair. So I didn't call on his phone. I'm going to Leia first and then Setok. So, any ideas?
Gift by Potion. Mecha Potion 2000 Amiga intro winner.
Oh, you're taking me back now. I can barely remember that. Crikey.
That was the. I'm very glad that you said the product, because that was 9 months earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, Gift was 9 months before the product. So the product was kind of the gift moment for PC sinners. But Gift was amazing. It was 10 minutes, and it had this amazing Goatrans track, or actually several parts. And it has really, really great visuals.
Right, I'm going to have to watch that when I get back home.
Because I still remember watching that in the compo.
Right.
I still remember sitting there.
Which party was that, sorry?
Mecha Symposium 2000. I still remember sitting there. My jaw was just dropping. I was just awestruck. That was an amazing intro. It still is my favorite intro today.
I'm going to have to give that a go when I get back. Yeah, absolutely. Setok.
Yeah, really difficult question, so I'm going to cheat and mention 3.
2 or 3? Oh.
No, there's going to 3 because one is an intro.
Yeah.
So no, I'm going to have to mention, of course, one Atari Falcon demo, which is Him by Escape, on a completely bog standard Atari Falcon, none of the 060 crap, and it will show you, what the Falcon can do. Then I thought of Panic Room, which I really love, by Fairlight. And then I'll have to mention the first, and I think the only demo that has ever been shown in the House of Parliament in Finland. So that was 1995 by Coolers. Was it also MFX?
Yes. You stole my choice, by the way. You've been waiting for all the way down here. I was going to mention 1995, but yeah, carry on.
So those were my 3. Excellent demo. The last one. It always makes me smile.
It does.
And it made diplomats dance in the Parliament building. This is a true story.
So basically, what you're saying is Finnish people are weird. Yeah.
No, these were foreign diplomats.
Oh,
Seriously.
foreign
They were
diplomats.
serious.
Foreign people are weird. Zygmunt.
Well, actually, in 1995, I was at a club in Gothenburg 4 years ago, and all of a sudden, regular dance club, and all of a sudden, hey, I recognize this one. So it was.
Happened to me too.
Yeah. Yeah. Gothenburg, they like the demo scene. That's excellent. Well, one thing that I'm an old Amiga guy and everything like that, and one demo that was really standing out for me was Desert Dreams by Kefrins.
Oh right.
Because I mean, it had direction, it had synchronization with graphics and music and everything like that, and it's a really great demo, and well, everyone should see it.
Chuck.
Keulers Veriform 2.
Disagree.
Oh, you can, but you're wrong.
Disagree. I really liked Veriform.
Yeah, of course you love Veriform. Everybody loved Veriform. Everybody loved Veriform so much that they told the guys in Keulers that they should make Veriform 2. They went so far as to make other groups just so they could get away from people telling them what to do. Finally, they made Veriform 2. Are you people happy now? I hope so, because that's the best demo this year. Except for the one from...
Isn't it interesting that this started with what demo would you show people, and it ended up with what's your favorite demo?
No, absolutely, because if I would have went there, I would have actually...
Seriously, Chuck, what demo would you show people?
No, seriously, Variform 2.
I will repeat my question. Seriously, if you had like a beginner and you're going like, you have to look at the things that I invested like 20 years of my life into.
Yep, I would show them Variform 2 because that would explain, they would say, why would somebody make this? And
I think
would say,
why is the actual question
and
I
I would
ask.
explain, and the answer is because sometimes people piss you off so much that you just have to tell them what you think.
Actually, we agree for the fourth time.
Oh my God,
Five
this is
actually.
terrible.
Yes.
So I'm
the
going to name.
bias will be wrong.
Yes.
There is no world on the other side of that door.
I'm going to name 3 demos stroke intros
Wait, I'm
now.
sorry, I have to do something. Rec, happy birthday.
Okay. So I'm going to name 3 things here, and some people are going to disagree with me, but the demo that got me into the scene from being a sit back and listen to a go to all the way to freaking Denmark to Aarhus to go to the party, it was either 2000 or 2001, was 303 by Acme, who was Alex Evans and Static, whatever his name was. No, including the singing. I sang along to the demo.
I did as well.
And it was quite good. The second one, 1995 by MFX and Coolers. Now, some people will say, why that? Yes, you've got the old effects that were mixed into the demos, but it was one of those demos where you can show something and it is different every 20, 30 seconds. There's always something new and interesting to look at, and the tune is so catchy, you will pick it up and be humming that for days. The third is going to be really controversial. It was a winner. It was a third place at Assembly 2009. It was UF and DD doing not Beyond the Curtain. It was called Z++
The one
one.
that goes that way,
No.
or the one that goes this way?
Always Z++, forwards.
Yeah.
Called like the Golden Path.
The Golden Path, except it's very anticlimactic, and I always hated it before that because it's so awesome all the way through, and then now the jizz moment comes and it doesn't.
I completely agree. However, there are 3 scenes in that which make me go wow. Number 1, everybody goes wow. You come into the forest, and even people who really don't like computers just go whoa at that point. Second, the artistry in the rotating, I don't know what they're called, the rotating glyphs that go around. They are just beautiful, and they make me look at it and just go, crikey, these guys are good at showing me what it is. Forget the fact that it looks exactly like Cassius's video, the Sound of Violence, whatever it is. The third thing is, exactly as you said, you end the demo and you go, oh, well, I was expecting something at the end. I wonder if I could beat this. And it gives you that kind of go, I'm going to have a go at this sometime. And it's the only thing that's made me sit down and try and code something. And within 15 minutes, yes, I just went, no, I fucking suck at code. But anyway, so the third question, which I'm going to ask you, is who fancies the beer? Yay! Yay! Thank you very much for watching Assembly TV 2012. This has been the final Demo Compo Studio. We're going to hand off now. All I'll say is thank you very much for watching. You've got another 12 hours or so of broadcast, 14 hours of broadcast. We're going to end here. So thank you very much. I've been Matthew Walster, Dot Waffle of Assembly TV. We'll see you again another year. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And now I want to talk without the microphone so everybody sees that we're talking about interesting
Oh, yes,
stuff.
I'm very interested.
I'm going to the bathroom. I don't know if anybody else.
Lean over and say it.